Today we're going to take a look at tile stitch. This is a really great knit purl combination stitch. And it has these long columns with these bands of purl bumps across. It's really easy to do, and I'm going to take you through it step by step. So I've got a swatch begun here, and I'm ready to knit row 1. And this is an 8-row repeat. I'm going to begin, I've already got my 8 rows here, ready to start row 1 for the second time. So this is a right side row, and this is purl 2, knit 4 to the end of the row. So to purl, I'm going to bring my yarn to the front of the work, insert my needle from right to left through the stitch, yarn around the needle, pull the yarn through, slip the stitch off the left hand needle. So that's purl 1. I'm going to do that one more time. Insert my right hand needle from right to left in the stitch, wrap the yarn around the needle, pull the yarn through, drop the stitch off the left hand needle. Now I'm going to knit 4. So to knit, I have to bring my yarn to the back of my work. I'm going to insert my right hand needle from left to right this time through the next stitch, wrap the yarn around the needle, pull the yarn through, slip the stitch off the left hand needle. So I've got 3 more knit stitches to do. I'm going to insert my needle, my right hand needle, from left to right through the next stitch, wrap the yarn around the needle, pull it through, slip it off the left hand needle. So I did purl 2, knit 2, now I need to knit 2 more to make my purl 2, knit 4. That's all there is on the first row. We just repeat that to the end. So I need to bring my yarn to the front because now I'm going to purl 2 again. Yarn in front for purls. Purl 2 or P2. Now I've got a knit 4, so I have to bring my yarn to the back. Working yarn in the back for your knit stitches. Knit 4. And we'll do that one more time. P2, knit 4. Yarn in front for purls. P2, yarn in back for knits. K4. That's row 1, which is a right side row. And if you have trouble keeping track of where you are, on the right side or the wrong side, you can just put a safety pin somewhere on the front of your work, and then you always know when the safety pin is facing you, you're on your right side row. So that's row 1, right side row. I'm going to flip it around and work row 2. So row 2 is a wrong side row, and now this is going to be P4, K2 all the way across. So P4 is purl 4. I'm going to keep my yarn in the front. Purl 4. And now K2. Switching my yarn to the back. P4, yarn in front for purls. K2. And one more time, we're going to purl 4 with the yarn in the front, and then knit 2 with the yarn in the back. And that's the end of row 2. So row 3 is the same as row 1, and row 4 is the same as row 2. So those first 2 rows that we worked, row 1 and 2, you're going to repeat the same thing twice more. Okay, so now I've worked row 1 through 6 of tile stitch, and I'm ready to work row 7, which is a right side row. So row 7 is knit 2, purl 4, repeat to the end of the row. So I'm going to keep my yarn in back, knit 2 stitches, and then purl 4. and repeat that all the way to the end of the row. K2, P4. So this is where we're getting those bands across the different texture. And that's just because we are purling what were knit stitches on the previous row and knitting what were purl stitches on the previous row. And if you have trouble distinguishing what's a knit and what's a purl, I'm going to show you right here. This one is a purl stitch. You can see it's got this sort of bar of yarn across it. If you think of that like a scarf, and the scarf is around here, it's in the front, and then that's a purl stitch. You think of, you bring your yarn to the front to make a purl stitch. So in this case, we need to knit our purl. So I know that that's a purl. I'm going to leave my yarn in the back and knit it. This stitch is a knit stitch, and it doesn't have that bar across the front. It's like the scarf is wrapped around the back, and you always knit with your yarn in the back of your work. But in this case, we want to purl the knits. We want to do the opposite. So I'm going to bring the yarn to the front and purl that knit stitch. So K2, purl 4, all the way to the end of the row. So now I'm on row 8, which is a wrong side row. And on this row, I'm just going to knit the knits and purl the purls. So that means it's K4, P2, and repeat that to the end of the row. So that was my K4, P2, K4, P2, and one more time. Knit 4 stitches and purl 2 stitches. So that's row 8, and that's the last row of the 8-row repeat. So now we're ready to work row 1 again. So I'll just do a few stitches there. This is where we're flipping that texture again. So you can see rows 1 to 6, that's this, you've got the large bands of knit stitches, which are smooth. And then when you flip the knits and purls, that's where you get this bumpy texture across the smooth knit stitches, because those are purl stitches on this side. So now I'm going to switch back to this smooth knit stitch. But I'm going to start with P2 and then K4. Right back to the beginning. And if you repeat that for several inches, you'll get our tile stitch. Columns of K4s, and then you've got purl bumps across, which are rows 7 and 8. And that's it for tile stitch.